Hey there, welcome to the Gyro Step, a Milwaukee Bucks podcast, proudly a part of the Blue Wire Podcast Network and GSPN, presented by our pals at Prize Picks. More on them later, but if you want to, unlike the Bucks and unlike the Packers, unfortunately, win, you can win some real money on Prize Picks. Let's just, elephant in the room, right? Download the Prize Picks app, and if it's your first time using Prize Picks, you can use code Eurostep to get $5 or $50 when you play any $5 lineup. That is a deal right there. 50 for 5. That you don't want to miss out on that. You can play in more than 30 states, including Wisconsin, the most important one. But I'm Ty Windisch here with Rohan Katti, as always, to break down the Bucks. And unfortunately, again, like I mentioned earlier, no wins in Wisconsin sports this weekend. The Brewers could not land any fun free agents, still sitting at about $1 million spent in free agency.
They took a loss too with the Bill Contreras stuff.
Oh yeah, they did that. I forgot the ARB thing. Yeah, we can't talk about that more. The Brewers fans will tell us we're idiots for worrying about it, but I don't love to see that. Packers obviously lost to the Eagles pretty badly.
Listen to Cruising for a Bruising, Talking to Tundra, respectively. Yeah. But yeah, bad Wisconsin sports weekend.
Really bad.
Which is crazy, because last year around this time when it was the Packers playoff game, it was a great Wisconsin sports weekend. We got the first Dame time in Milwaukee buzzer beater. We got the Packers absolutely decimating the Cowboys. And we were like, oh, this is great. Fast forward a year later, just bad.
Really
it's
bad.
Just bad.
We need now, our next great hope is not until Brewers season. Well, I guess tournament, March. We could have some. That's, I guess, our next great opportunity. Yeah.
Marquette? They're a really good team?
Wisconsin's still ranked, aren't they?
Are they?
I don't know. I thought so. I don't know.
I mean, I pay attention to my top 10 Marquette Golden Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, I understand that they are better so far.
Yeah.
Wisconsin Badgers basketball. Okay, they're 7th in Big Ten. I'm going to guess not ranked.
And we're going to have first-round games in Milwaukee.
Just smacked around Minnesota, though.
You
take that.
I mean, they should still make the tournament. You would think.
7th in Big Ten? Do you make the...
You would think. You would hope.
Yeah, you'd hope. It'd be fun. I mean, that'd be fun, like... I don't know. Marquette might be too good. I was going to say that'd be a fun, 3-14 if the Badgers are struggling.
Oh, it'd be fun for me.
I mean, that would be crazy. That would be... sign me up for that as a mostly neutral observer. We have to talk about the Bucks. We always do this thing where they don't play well, and then we find anything else that we can possibly talk about, which I think is fair play for us. But the Bucks now 20-17 after a second demoralizing loss to the New York Knicks. I want to say this. So a lot has been made of they have yet to beat the Cavs, the Celtics, or the Knicks, which is obviously not good. I will say I think their season series against the Knicks is the most demoralizing of the three thus far. Like the Cavs,
you would have to agree. Like the Cavs, they've been close-ish games. The Celtics,
without key players, against those teams as well.
Yeah, but the Knicks, it's just 30-point games.
Yeah, 34 in this one. 140-106 was the final. It was a Sunday afternoon game, and the Bucks sure played like they did not get their afternoon nap.
Yes, and again, missing key-ish players, Gary Trent Jr., Ryan Rollins, not. Even with the team, they got sent home.
Yeah, the illness. The illness for Rollins. Trent has a hip thing.
Yes, but he's still sent home. Weird.
I thought he was there.
Oh, was he?
I think they showed him there. So I believe
Rollins got sent home.
Rollins is contagious, which is really tough timing. We'll talk about how much of a matchup problem Jalen Brunson is for the Bucks. I think both of those players would have helped actually quite a bit. Those are probably the best two defenders in terms of body type for a guy like Brunson. There's not many players in the league like him. He's small and shifty, yet pretty strong, and the Bucks just could not handle the small and shifty part without Trent and without Rollins. Jim Ozarski of the Milwaukee Journal-Sentinel, I believe, reported Trent does not feel like this is a long-term thing to be worried about. They ended up holding him out. He was questionable going into the game, so the hope is that Gary Trent will be back soon, and Rollins we'll see. I mean, this illness, this virus, whatever, has been ravaging the Bucks, and really unfortunate timing. Ryan Rollins' career, if you look at it, I know people make the jokes for the Target incident or whatever. really unfortunate series of events throughout his career where every time it seems like he's ready for real playing time, there's some sort of injury and now an illness keeping him off the court. He had, I think, ankle or foot injuries with Golden State. I think, again, with Washington, didn't get to play much there. And now, of course, with the Bucks, has had the shoulder thing, which kept him out right after his best NBA minutes ever, like that Toronto start, immediately separates the shoulder, is playing through it, and now sick right before this game where Trent is out, and the Bucks clearly need more point guard defenders. That was going to be his role. We saw Pat Connaughton instead and a little bit of Marjon Beauchamp. That would have been where Rollins slots in. Unfortunate, but hopefully both of those players can get well soon. Again, neither thing seems extremely long-term, but tough losses for this game, Rohan.
Yeah, just really, really tough matchup problems with the Knicks, and those two might have been helpful, like you were saying. But yeah, it's just unfortunate. Glad to hear that with Gary, it's not going to be anything completely serious, and he should be back soon. And with Rollins, we'll see. It's just sickness continues to decimate this team. Yeah, just bad all around.
Yeah,
sure, everyone, you're being wary. Oh my god!
Wow! Wow! It's coming for you.
No, that's the worst. You
got to go see a throat guy.
Oh, I need to call Doc, see what his throat guy's up to. Oh my goodness! Need to be wary of what's going on. Yeah. That's never happened on the pod. That's crazy. We've been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
Oh man.
It comes for us all, Rohan. It's okay. I think this thing with the Knicks, though, the concerning thing is they basically have two huge matchup problems from Milwaukee. So we have talked about before, and I've talked about all over, like Karl-Anthony Towns has been an issue for. He's been an issue for a lot of teams. I mean, he's had a great season, his best season ever in New York. But in the first matchup, Brook Lopez just couldn't keep up with him. So Brook gives him a little space. Towns is pulling and hitting threes. Brook tries to press up. Towns is just breaking him down off the dribble and dunking on him. So in this game, Giannis started on Towns. A much better start. I mean, Giannis can do it, right? Like, that shouldn't be surprised there. I think Giannis on Towns, when they did it, worked pretty well. But again, when you only have three bigs, Giannis can't play the whole game. So they tried Bobby Portis on Towns, which I thought was the logical next step, right? Like, you need more than one person to guard an opposing star player, or at least try to. And Bobby Portis has never looked smaller. I mean, Towns was getting the offensive rebounds he wanted, was getting wherever he wanted in the post. There was nothing that Big Bob could do at all.
He was Small Bob.
He was Small Bob next to Bodega Cat, a.k.a. Big Purr. I love his nicknames.
He looked like Bob the Builder out there.
I think Bob the Builder is a little stouter. I think Bob the Builder could have held his ground a little bit.
He has a wider base.
He's got a wide base. He's got a big head. Maybe they should try Bob the Builder at the 4/5 next time they play the Knicks, because Big Bob and Brook Lopez, unfortunately, were not cutting it. Towns ends with 30 and 18 plus 4 assists. Brunson ends with 44, 5, and 6 assists. I mean, that was the game. The interesting thing about this game is, like, OG Anunoby and Mikal Bridges, two guys that I was kind of like, their defense could be a big issue. They could be great offensive. Really ho-hum games. I thought both ends. Like, OG had a couple good defensive possessions. Dame, for a lot of the game, was kind of able to get whatever he wanted against Bridges until he just started deciding to throw bad passes versus shoot in the second half for some reason. Those guys, like, it didn't feel like a super team kind of win. It really felt like two players that the Bucks just had no answer for just dominated them. I mean, 77 points, 10 assists, 23 rebounds for those two. Basically had the Dame and Giannis game we like so much against Orlando, but now on the other side of the court.
Yeah, 100%. That's the thing about this Knicks team, why they're so good, is that you don't need all four of their guys to really go off and pop off on any given night. You just have two, and obviously it's more likely that your two best players, and Brunson and Cat, are going to be the ones to do that. But you don't need OG and Mikal to have incredible games every night. You can rely on them just being like solid defenders. And again, like, even in this matchup where they weren't even like making the mark for themselves defensively, it still managed to be a good game for them because they can have Jalen Brunson and Cat just go off. Yeah, just a good thing about this Knicks team, very well built. You don't need everyone to go up. Like, if there's a chance, you just need two of them.
Yeah, and they got them. And the other side of the floor, the Bucks offense was, I thought, pretty solid early, and I think they gradually got away from what was working, which it felt like they were really trying to go after Towns and a little bit Brunson and get them involved. And this is the thing, like, even though Anunoby and Bridges didn't wow me, you can't just go at those guys over and over with Giannis and Dame, which is obviously what the Knicks want. Like, you need to drag in. The thing about Towns and Brunson is they're not great defenders. So they did get 3 fouls on the Towns, which I thought was going to be really important, and then they were not able to get any more. Brunson committed no fouls in the game, and it felt like they probably let him slide too often and just weren't dragging him into enough actions. But I think, obviously, when you give up 140 points, the defensive end is more the problem in this game. To me, this one felt simple. This wasn't like schematic. This was, we do not have any basketball players who can guard Jalen Brunson, and we have one who can guard Karl-Anthony Towns, and he's our best player, and we're only going to ask him to do that so many times.
Yeah, it's this game more than anything else. We're going to talk about some standings later. I was like, just 4-5 is fine.
It's going to have to be fine because the Bucks are pretty much stuck there at this point. I mean, you can never say never in mid-January, but let's do that now. We can pop back to other Knicks takes. The Bucks are in 6th now. They were in 4th 3 days ago after they beat Orlando. But Bucks lose, Orlando wins, Indiana wins, and the standings are just bunched right now. And Milwaukee could be in 7th by the time they play on Tuesday night against the Kings in Milwaukee because they are tied in record with Miami. Miami plays at Clippers on Monday night. So if Miami wins, the Bucks will then suddenly be in the play-in, just 1 game ahead of Detroit in 8th and 1.5 ahead of Atlanta in 9th. So for how nice it is that the Bucks do have the tiebreakers against a lot of these teams, they still need to finish with at least the same record in order for that to matter, which means just need to start winning games more consistently, which is why we talked about some of the games they've dropped this season, 2 to the Bulls, 2 to the Nets, are so costly. Because if you had 3 more wins instead of 0-4 in those combined games, suddenly you're holding on to 4 pretty comfortably, and you're not that far behind New York. That's the other thing. This is only a 3-game series. The Knicks have already won it, and they are up 4.5 games over Milwaukee after this head-to-head win. So basically 5.5 games. The Bucks are, again, to your point, like, let's not even look at 3 at this point. Try to lock down 4 and own the first round home court, and then you're going to have to be a road warrior from there. I mean, clearly, the 1 seed is impossible. In case anyone was wondering, the Bucks are now 12.5 games back of the Cleveland Cavaliers. Cleveland also has the tiebreaker.
Hey, they lost? They lost a game?
Yeah, to Indiana, who apparently was able to play great defense against them somehow. Didn't love that, but yeah, we're not worried about 1 or 2. At this point now, we have to chop off 3. It's going to be really important to take care of business and get in good. You don't want to be in the play-in. I think that's the clear worst case. I also think 6 would be pretty bad because then you're probably going right back up against New York in the first round without home court. You're going to have to play good teams at some point, obviously, but the 4 or 5 feels really important right now. I just looked because I had only looked for Orlando, Indiana, Miami. The Bucks are also 2-0 against Detroit. So they are in a pretty good spot against all of these teams they're around right now. Just if they can get like 1 more win against each of them, they'll have all of those tiebreakers, and then that also gives you a huge standings boost. So those are going to be some of the key games the rest of the way now in terms of standings.
Yeah, and another thing about 4-5, you don't play Boston until the conference finals.
Most likely.
If you make it. If you make it that far.
I mean, things could still change at the top. The Celtics are 5.5 games back of Cleveland, though. So it does seem Cleveland's in pole position. We'll see what happens. Again, that's not insurmountable.
It would shock me if Cleveland does not have the best record in the NBA.
Yeah, partially just because for kind of a while now, Boston's not been very good by their standard.
No, they're 5-5 in their last 10.
They're up to 6-4 now because they barely held on against the Pelicans. I mean, they were
without anyone.
Uncharacteristic late game turnovers for them. Derek White's not been great. A lot of their players who, like Jalen Brown and them, who had been shooting okay for their career but were good last year, I think a lot of their guys have just cooled off quite a bit. So
you know what? Good.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, good.
It just also kind of looks like they're bored.
I don't know. I mean, it's gone on for kind of a while now.
It's fourth quarters that have been really plaguing them.
Yeah.
Which is maybe not boredom, but it's also like just going through the motions.
I'm at a place now where I look at the Cavs and I think they're almost as dangerous in a playoff context.
Oh, absolutely. Like I'm not saying the Cavs are a walk in the park.
Yeah. I don't look at it as some huge edge. Maybe that changes by playoff time. I mean, again, I think the Cavs are probably due to cool down there. Off the dribble. Have you seen their off the dribble shooting numbers? It's like historically great, better than the KD Warriors or anyone else ever. Like eventually Ty Jerome is probably going to not be Steph Curry anymore and stuff like that. But I think they're still a really good team. They're pretty deep. They're really locked in and on the same page. But I do think, and the Celtics' depth, like Horford has not been as good this year. KP has not hit the three this year. Like they do have some real question marks, but I think they're still great. But I think the top three, it's probably Celtics, Cavs, Knicks in that order, or would you rather see the Cavs than the Knicks? The Knicks matchup problem is real for Milwaukee.
I think I'd rather see the Cavs, which is weird because they're clearly a better team than the Knicks, right? They're clearly a better team. But this comes back to the matchup problems we were talking about earlier with the Knicks. And it's really going to be something that hopefully is, coloring John Horst's vision as he approaches this trade deadline, is that there's clear matchup problems. You have no athletic big to really keep up with either Porzingis or Cat. Cat more than Porzingis, obviously, but Porzingis still a thorn in the Bucks' side and in that same archetype as a Cat. When I say that, it's like, oh, he just looks like like a kitten, but as a Karl-Anthony Towns, but it's like the Jalen Brunson problem is obviously still a thing because like even more than the Celtics don't have like that dynamic small shifty guard who's going to just wreck you.
They're going to disrespect Peyton Pritchard like that?
I knew you were going to say Peyton Pritchard as soon as I said that. But no, I will. Okay, I will.
I mean, I think
Brunson's better than Peyton Pritchard. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it.
I think he's got 40 or more against the Bucks in 4 of his last 8 games against them. Brunson, not Pritchard, although it may seem like that sometimes.
I was going to say, I thought you were talking about Pritchard, and I was like, I thought it was 2 games, but I guess that's believable.
No, but I think Brunson had 3 of his last 7 coming in and obviously did have 40 again. So, yeah, I think he is a single player. Is he giving them the most problems in the league right now? And Towns is up there. Like, it's kind of a big confluence of problems for the Bucks, and they have not been able to make Towns and Brunson's defense enough of a problem. I think that's going to be the number one key in a playoff series, outside of finding guys who can credibly guard them. I guess that's really number one. But I think those 2 players need to be targeted more defensively.
Absolutely they would. But getting like those guys are the reasons. Like the Bucks have actually matched up fairly well against the Cavaliers this season. Yeah. Again, regular season and playoffs are 2 completely different things. But and these teams are completely different from the first couple times they've met to when they could potentially meet in the postseason. But even like a broken version of the Bucks were able to fairly keep up well.
I mean, with the last possession was it 2 games without Giannis, or maybe one of them they had Giannis, one they didn't. But I mean, Donovan Mitchell hits the game winner, and the Bucks can't. I think in the other game, like really close margins in both of them. Yeah, I think that's the double big thing. Like I think Brook Lopez can play against that team comfortably, and to a lesser extent Portis can as well. That's just a big deal. The Bucks bigs are one-dimensional in different ways. They're separately one-dimensional. And there are some teams where they just don't look good at all, and the Knicks are the worst one. And so you basically just have Giannis in terms of bigs who can play well against this Knicks team. One thing I found interesting in this game, it's kind of a really good Chris Middleton game. Under the radar.
Was pretty good.
He was the only player with a positive plus-minus, a whopping +1. 7 of 9 from the field, 2 of 4 from deep.
And a 34-point loss, that's really impressive.
Yeah, I mean, when you play 25 minutes in a 34-point loss, he had 5 assists, 2 steals, and 2 turnovers, 3 fouls, but 16 points for Chris. Was a nice game, and I wonder if some of that was, I think they used him as kind of the 4 and the Giannis at the 5 lineups, and those were probably their most successful lineups in that game.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a lot of great things about Chris Middleton. But one of the best things about Chris Middleton is just his ability when the offense stalls out is just go easily, no matter who it is, what the team defense looks like. He'll just go get you a bucket. Yeah. He'll do that so many times. The Knicks, like, even though they had a lot of times as either Josh Hart or OG, depending on the matchup, they would just stick them on Chris Middleton. Chris Middleton would, do his little shimmy shake, try to go middles, try to fade away, or spin back. Whenever he would try to fade middle, like, they would send some guy to really help out there. Then he'd just be like, okay, I'm just going to fade to the other side. And it doesn't matter. He can just get whatever shot off he wants. And it really helps when the Bucks are doing, like, in these lulls on offense, which they find themselves in a lot against the New York Knicks. Yeah. A Knicks team that is, a good team defense, has some bad individual defenders, but has a good team defense overall. Chris Middleton's a game breaker in that respect.
Yeah, I thought, I think the Knicks coming in, they had lost 4 out of 5, and I think they were due a bounce back game.
They were absolutely due a bounce back game. Like that, I'm not going to put it all on that, considering we've seen bad losses to the Knicks already, but they were absolutely due for a FU game.
Yeah, I think though there can be those games where you're still competitive and you lose, and after the game it's like, okay, I mean it was their night. They were breaking the slump. That's fine. Like we lost, 125 to 118 or to 115 because they just didn't miss. You know what I mean? Like that game is different than you give up 140 and they just kind of mope their way through part of the game. I also thought offensively, like Damian Giannis had 46 combined points on 38 shots, which is not very good. And they had 7 assists to 10 turnovers. I thought the Knicks drop a lot. Like there should have been threes available. They've been getting killed by teams making a lot of threes recently on this losing streak. Like Taurean Prince only shoots 4 shots, 3 of them are threes. He's 1 for 3. AJ Green takes 5 shots in 25 minutes. The Knicks.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Bucks for a second.
No, the Knicks. They were 1-4 in their last 5 coming in. Now they're 2-4. AJ Green only took 5 shots. 2 of them made 2 of them. All threes, of course. Chris takes 4. Bobby only takes 1 3 and misses it. Pat C takes 3 threes, misses all. I mean, he just can't do it. Just keep driving, Pat. Just keep driving. The drives look good.
No, I was going to say the drives did look good.
It's probably his best game of the season.
I think it is.
We're not going to talk much about Pat. I didn't rehang for anyone watching the YouTube. The unrelated 24 is next to me. I'm not going to do this by performance anymore, but unrelated to a Bucks legend and one of our best podcast bits ever. I'm just going to keep it up. I've decided. So, new setup. The 24 is going to stay up. But it was a nice game from PC. A lot of teams should be looking at this going, we could use a driver who can get 2 assists. Like they stole his. They didn't give him his block. He blocked Josh Hart before halftime. They didn't credit it with him. I guess not. That's BS. I think that should have been a block too. Whatever. We can still put it on film and send it around the league. Like, look at this. Blocks, runouts, dishing from the driver. Like, all he needs to do is knock down the threes again. It may never happen, but I don't think the Bucks
were. Detroit, you're winning games. Come on.
Detroit needs this guy. They need this guy. Him next to, oh my God, I cannot remember the Italian guy I was talking about. Fontecchio. Him and Fontecchio would be a treacherous duo. But I don't think they opened up good enough shots for their role players, and part of it was Giannis and Dame just, like, when they looked to move the ball, it was sloppy, especially Dame, and I think by and large they just were not moving the ball and opening up shots. They were settling for some bad ones.
Yeah, Dame especially had a lot of trouble trying to pass, like 6 turnovers. You can't. Like when Giannis and Dame combine for 10 turnovers, you're not winning again.
Yeah.
It's just not possible.
Especially when Giannis's trip to free throw line are also turnovers, basically.
Yeah, it's bad. It's really bad.
I had somebody go, oh, his career average isn't that much different than LeBron. Like, well, he's not at his career average. He's at like 50%, and now he shot 40% against the Knicks. He's got to just change it. I mean, I don't know why he's still doing the super long, and I thought he sped it up a little bit against the Knicks. It still didn't work. I just don't understand the process or the thought process of I should take forever and have 3 hitches in my free throw. It just makes no sense.
No, I mean,
throw it out.
Who are people scared to tell Giannis to change it?
It's just do it like any other NBA player, because literally all of them are having more success from free throw this season.
It's clearly just he's in his own head. Like, that's just never been more obvious with his just dramatically improved mid-range shooting.
Yeah. Yeah, like it's not like he has zero shooting touch. He's just like, that free throw motion is terrible. And it's a talking point when you're at 40 or 50% from free throw. I mean, that's a problematic number.
When someone who leads the league in free throw attempts.
Yeah, it's wasted points. I mean, again, does it make the difference in this game? No, but there are close games the Bucks play where it's like, man, getting 7 or 8 points instead of 4 points at the free throw line, that can be a pretty big difference. I think you should try the one hand.
Yeah, do the Sohan.
Sohan has been above 70% the last 2 years. He was under 70% his rookie year. 77 last year, down to 72 this year. So he's dropped a little bit, but I mean,
72 would be godlike.
I was going to say, I wonder how many extra points is that for Giannis?
If he does 72% compared to whatever he's shooting right now.
I'm gonna do the math. Talk about something. Sorry,
yeah, just
anything.
No, you're good. you have to try something, right? Because it's a clear and present need for the Bucks, and it's plagued Giannis for years now. Years, it's been an issue. It's been a talking point. Like, he's dealt with the opposing fans like counting for years. Like, people even like the random opposing fan will even do that in Fiserv sometimes. But it's just clear that things need to change, and I don't think, like I was saying earlier, are people just too scared to say something to Giannis? Because someone should have that. 30 points?
40.
Wow. 40? Wow.
40 points this season. He scored 950. He would have 990 if he shot 72% from free throw, which is, again, it may seem like, oh, pie in the sky. He shot 72% right after the championship season, and he had a run from 2014-15 to 2018-19. That was the worst he shot. 74, 72, 77, 76, 72, almost 73%. And then since then, only 1 year above the 60s. Like, I don't really understand it, especially, again, to your point, like, the midi is going in. Shoot them like you shoot the midi. Like, lean back a little bit.
Like,
do anything.
We know you can't jump, but like, do something. Can you just like shoot them like a float,
that's what I'm saying. The one-handed, just push it. Yeah. If you just push it up toward the center of the rim, like, it's going to bounce a bunch. It's going to be ugly. I bet the percentage would be better.
Oh yeah, because it's like a lot of times it's missing left, it's missing right. It's not like a
short.
It's not an issue of like, oh, he's not getting enough arc on it. They're flat shots or anything. No, he's just missing them.
Yeah.
It's just bad. It's really bad. Like, for a team that struggles this much, like with offense at times, just leaving free points when they're available. They're called free throws.
Yeah.
Like, you should be able to make your free throws. Otherwise, teams are just going to keep fouling you.
Yeah, 59.1% for Giannis this year from free throw. I don't know if that's actually the worst in the league. I mean, it's sure toward the bottom if it's not the absolute worst.
It's got to be near the bottom.
I mean, yeah, you've got to filter out like a bunch of players who barely play. What's it good? Let's say 100 minutes. Is anyone with more than 100 minutes this year? It doesn't. It broke NBA stats.
Here, I'll say free throw attempts. I'm just gonna sort. What's a minimum free?
Oh, it's doing per game. Okay, hold on. I need totals.
Let's say. What? This can't be right. NBA stats is broken.
Yeah, it's not good anymore.
No, it's absolutely broken because it says only 3 players have attempted more than 50.
Okay, there's one player. You might be on average. Oh, no, that couldn't be average. I've got it here. Ivica Zubac is at 54%, and he's shot more than 100 free throws, just barely. So he's the worst. Giannis is second worst.
Wow.
They're the only 2 players to shoot 100 free throws so far this season and be under 60%. Russ at 63%, Kuminga, Jakob Poeltl, Rudy Gobert, Yves Missy, but he's at like 66% is bad, but that's like, okay.
Oh, I figured it out. Okay. So it's not broken. I'm just stupid.
Yeah.
But if you want to say like, if you want to do 50 free throw attempts, then it's like Capella, Claxton, Walker, Kessler, Andre Drummond.
Yeah.
In addition to Zubats are worse.
Okay. So yeah, a bunch of the centers you kind of expect.
But like Draymond is shooting better. Jalen Duren is shooting better. Zach Edey, Russell Westbrook, Derek Lively. These are all players who are shooting better from free throw than Giannis.
Must be a pretty good shooting rookie class. No rookies toward the bottom. Eve's missing. Or Edey is 63.
Edey, yeah.
But anyway.
Bad.
A lot of good stuff from Giannis, obviously.
Rudy Gobert is a better free throw shooter than Giannis.
Yeah, that's not good. He can't even make floaters at the rim. He can't even make layups at the rim. I think that's the most
depressing thing I've looked up.
Yeah, it's up there. I mean, current events and such, but in terms of basketball.
Related to basketball, yes.
I mean, it's up there generally, too. I mean, that's pretty...
You had to do that.
I mean, Rudy Gobert higher than Giannis, that is pretty depressing. But I think Giannis obviously needs to work that out. Most of the rest of the things are good. He needs to be in a better context. The Bucks need another real big. I think that's very obvious. I'm planning to do this week my trade deadline big board. So maybe next time we pod, we can go through that because people keep asking me, who should they get? Who should they get? One, it's a John Horst problem, not a Ty Windisch problem. But two, I do love content, so I will answer that question.
John Horst, later let's make it a Ty Windisch problem.
Yeah, I mean, I'm down. Call me in, cut the check, and it doesn't have to be a big check.
We'll consult. You'll consult.
Yeah. I've got good ideas.
There we go.
I think they went after guys on my big board in free agency.
I mean, I can't disagree.
Yeah.
You were a big oh my god. What am I trying to say right now?
I liked Prince.
You've been a big DeLon Wright guy in the past, so yeah.
No, they're not going to call Rohan. Thanks. DeLon Wright 0 for 4 in 7 minutes of garbage time. I'm sure it pained him to play that much. That shows how far he's fallen, by the way, that both Pat Connaughton and Marjon Beauchamp got in the game first when they clearly needed a player who could just sort of guard a small point guard. And Doc didn't even consider. Doc didn't even consider it.
He didn't even consider him, but I was like, maybe this is the time to really break him out? And we just never saw it.
At one point, he just knocked a ball out of bounds, and I think it was because he didn't want to possess the ball that badly.
The DeLon Wright experience has not been good.
No. Taurean Prince in this game just didn't even try defensively. Josh Hart took him straight from the three-point arc and dunked when, he didn't have advantage. He just caught it. They caught it next to each other, and Prince is just, not feeling playing the whole defense today. Pretty unacceptable. Pretty unacceptable game from Taurean Prince, who's, again, starting. This is what everyone wanted. This is the starter. Okay, let's see it. Let's see the defense with this guy in the starting lineup. Didn't bring it at all. Pretty bad game. 3 assists, that's great. Didn't have a good game at all.
No, not even a little bit. I mean, to be Josh Hart is just a different type of athlete compared to Taurean Prince. But
is he?
I think so.
I mean, Josh Hart is a crash the boards guy. Josh Hart's not a guy I look at and go, oh yeah, he's going to post to you every so often.
That's fair.
I mean, come on. This isn't Russ. Prime Russ.
Or current.
Yeah, current Russ is playing well too. But yeah, Brook Lopez didn't play well. Bobby Portis didn't play well. Bobby knocked down some of the middies, but I mean, again, when you're giving up threes and dunks on the other end, it's just not enough.
That might be the worst defensive performance I've ever seen from Bobby Portis.
Yeah, I mean, he had nothing.
He was just getting put in the basket. He didn't. The worst part was for Bobby, I think it broke him because it wasn't even an instance where it's he's getting fired up trying to do things on offense, trying to repay. He's I got nothing. He's I can't do anything. I've never seen that before from him.
How far has Towns come from the Boogie meme where he just couldn't move Boogie at all?
Which is Jeff Teague's fault, apparently.
Everything is Jeff. Jeff Teague is I haven't. I can't keep up with all the Jeff Teague lore lately, but
it's okay. Jeff Teague said some pretty weird things.
I mean, yeah, it's Jeff Teague is when you talk that much into a mic, stuff happens. I've learned this too. But yeah, I mean, Portis, I it shouldn't have been that bad, right? I get if you're a little overpowered by Towns, but it looked like a 3 trying to guard Hakeem out there. I mean, you just don't see that kind of. You just don't see post players move other post players that much in the modern league. It was, I mean, Brunson had a better game and got the best of Ajax and AJ Green and Taurean Prince and Dame and whoever else they put on him for sure. Like, but it didn't look as bad. Like Brunson got a little space and paid it off. He had a pretty soft whistle. I know I keep seeing people talk about this. 7 of his 44 points were free throws. Like he was hooping as well. And you can talk about the whistle, but you know, him and Towns made 15 combined free throws.
The whistle was only bad in the first quarter, where he was just clearly trying to get Ajax out of the game, and it worked.
But he was scoring on Ajax too.
Oh, and I'm not trying to say Ajax wasn't any sort of deterrent whatsoever, but it was really only like a free throw issue was really a thing in the first quarter, like a whistle thing. Otherwise, it's just hoops. It's just hooping.
Did he take 6 of 8 of them in the first quarter? I mean, he did not have that many total. He took 7 of his 8 free throws in the first quarter.
Wow.
So, yeah, I mean, and the first quarter, the Bucks were down 3. So
yeah, it was a pretty close game at half.
I mean, they gave up 36, but they scored 33, even though they were only 2 of 8 from 3. It wasn't out of reach at half.
It was 13 at half.
But I think after the first quarter, again, the Knicks kept scoring. Obviously, 36 isn't good, but they only gave up 1 offensive rebound in the first quarter. That got out of hand afterward. And the Bucks had only turned it over 3 times total in the first quarter. They end up with 14, and the Knicks end up with 10 offensive rebounds. Like, just can't reload a team who's already hot shooting, and you can't guard 2 of their players. Campaign randomly went off, which was disgusting, but not a good couple of games for my AJ Green should start narrative. His defense has not looked as good lately. It's been challenging matchups, but tough sledding. But Ajax probably had one of his best games offensively, but just absolutely defensively, you know, nobody had anything for Brunson, him included.
Yeah, Ajax 4 or 5 from the field, hit a 3. He hit a 3 against the Magic, but he hadn't hit a 3 before that in a while.
Been a while, yeah.
So just being able to go out there and do that was good from Ajax, but yeah, just couldn't do anything with Brunson.
No. I am surprised now. I thought it would be even Marjan or Delon right before Pat, and I guess Doc was just trying things, and I guess Pat's been a little better than those guys to this point this season. If he just didn't take, or if he could make threes. I mean, 3 of 3 from 2, all drives, got fouled on 1, made 2 free throws, had 5 rebounds, including 2 offensive, 2 assists to no turnovers, and 1 foul. 8 points in 16 minutes. Like, if the 3 was there, he's a useful role player if limited again. I think less useful to them in this roster where they need defense more, but the 3 ball has just totally deserted him, and it's tough to make the minutes work without it.
Yeah, especially with this team, it's so tough without the 3. Like we've seen the Bucks, they're only a really successful team when they have like the 3 ball fallen. So it's just
down to 29.8% from deep after this game for Condon.
Yikes.
Yeah. We'll talk about more Bucks Knicks and just general Bucks in a minute. But first, Rohan, let's talk about our friends at Prize Picks, who we mentioned earlier in the pod. It's playoff time, not for this particular basketball league, but obviously the football playoffs really got going last weekend, and your rooting interest may be out of the playoffs, but you can find a new thing to root for, and that is cold hard cash, where you can win up to 1,000 times your money on Prize Picks. It's the best way to get in on the real money sports action. Join more than 10 million, climbing toward 100 million members, and sign up today. And Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect, which is exactly what Mr. Rohan Katti did pretty recently. Rohan, tell us about your flex play.
Yeah, so we had Giannis versus Wemby. ESPN's like, okay, one thing we'll talk about this in a second. ESPN promoting their stars like in actual players. I feel like there's been a shift a little bit recently, and it's
finally
good to see. I know. Right?
One other thing on that note, I did not have high expectations for Jay Billis because I know he's normally a college guy. Excellent color commentary. Would like more Jay Billis on the broadcast.
Yeah,
I thought he was very good on Bucks Spurs.
Yeah, absolutely. But Bucks Spurs, what a matchup between Titans. Giannis clearly took it seriously, and the Bucks did too. They blow up the Spurs. Was this the first game where we see Chris Middleton coming off the bench for this new starting lineup? I believe.
Yeah,
one of the first.
I don't think he played Toronto, right?
Correct.
Yes.
So with that going in, Chris Middleton, fantasy score, 24 and a half. Less.
No, not fantasizing about that performance.
Yeah, I was like, no, this is Chris Middleton. I'm sorry, but it's gonna be a little bit of tough sledding for you. Damian Lillard, who had kind of struggled, needed a little bit of a bounce back game, did a PRA, combined points, rebounds, and assists. The projection was 33 and a half. Got to support the guy. Ended up with 39.
Nice.
There you go. And then Harrison Barnes, good old Harry B. There was a projection on dunks.
Yeah, I also was in on this.
And the projection was half a dunk. Is he going to have a dunk or no? No, he did not.
No.
Which was good. I was like, if Harrison Barnes is getting a dunk against a Giannis, Brook, Lopez front line, something has gone insanely awry.
Yeah, we got bigger problems if that's going on.
And also with the Spurs, Devin Vassell, 1.5 turnovers was the projection. He had 2. Again,
you went more than?
Nice. Yeah, I went more than. He had 2 fairly quickly. One was I believe an offensive foul, and one was something else. But Giannis. Projection of 30 points. I went more than. I didn't know he was going to go triple double hunting.
Yeah,
which he didn't even end up getting. Ended with 25 points.
Was that not the 11, 12, 13 game?
That was Toronto.
Oh.
This one, he had 25 points. Did not quite get up to 30.
I was in the same game. I had Vassell 8 rebounds and assists more than he hit it. I had Giannis 50 PRA, 49. Tough beat. And the same Harry Barnes as you.
Yeah, but Giannis costing me that 5 out of 5. But thankfully, since it was a flex play, it's still 4 out of 5. So that's still a win for me.
Still a dub. I also had Wemby, more than 11 rebounds and assists, or more than 15. He only had 11 because he didn't get to play a lot. The Bucks dominated the Spurs. That was fun. They should get back to doing that more often. And everyone listening should get back to their respective app stores to download the Prize Picks app today and use code EuroStep to get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. That is code EuroStep, all one word, GYRO. Some people call it Gyro Step. Get $50 instantly when you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, run your game. Yeah, this was disappointing. I'm trying not to overreact too much. I feel like I'm in between two things. Like, we've seen the Bucks look pretty good somewhat recently. 3-game winning streak. The Orlando game was tough, but that's just a tough team. Really
Paolo's
good win against the Spurs.
Paolo, where Paolo looked really good.
Paolo is legit, man. Actually, I'm going to end the pod with a question I answered recently. I want to get your take on too, but later. More Bucks first. But then really dispiriting loss to the Knicks. You're without some key players, but not key enough that I think a 34-point loss is okay. I'm not totally worried with that they've not beaten any contenders thing, but I do think at a certain point, you've got to get some wins against the elite East teams, or it's just going to be hard to take the Bucks seriously. I also think they've got to, again, modernize the big room a little bit and maybe add another two-way player to slot in as well. But
Nick Richards, please.
I would do anything for Nick Richards. Anything. But like the upcoming schedule, we're not going to get those prove-it games. Anything. You know, Kings Tuesday, Magic Wednesday.
Kings who have won 7 in a row?
The dead coach bounce has never been higher.
No,
they're playing Keon Ellis, the GOAT now, and everything has changed. 2 tough games back to back. I hate Sabonis. I hate watching the Bucks play Sabonis. A dirty player, but also a crybaby. It's just, he's an annoying player to watch.
He's up there with Gobert for me.
I hate watching him way more. Gobert doesn't frustrate me to watch.
No, but he's just annoying.
Yeah, he's an annoying but I think he's more annoying off the court. Sabonis, I think, is fine off the court. I just hate watching him play basketball. Raptors again on Friday. And then the Sixers, who are spiraling even harder on Sunday. Pels, Heat, Clippers, Jazz, Blazers, Spurs. Like, really, until we get to February and then certainly March, the schedule doesn't really toughen up again. So again, we said this earlier, and I'm not going to make any win projections after the last one went so poorly, but the Bucks need to take care of business. There's some tough teams coming up, but none of the elite teams in the league right now, and the Bucks need to prove they belong in that category by rolling off a bunch of wins against these other teams.
Yeah, I mean, you only like just speaking on contenders in general. Like again, like it's bad that the Bucks are now 0-8 against the Cavs, Celtics, and Knicks.
Yes.
Like again, we've talked about they've played the Celtics and Cavs fairly well, but it's also like win a game, you know?
Yeah.
Like maybe show that you're capable of winning a game because close losses don't mean anything.
Yeah.
It really doesn't.
It's not horseshoes.
Yeah. In a playoff series potentially against the Cavs, if you lose 4 games, but it's like these were all 1-point games. Think about it like that Cleveland Indiana series where it was Oladipo versus Braun, where it's like it's the closest sweep I've ever seen or whatever like that, and it's like, hey, it's still a sweep. I don't know if it was that series specifically because I think that series went 7 games.
Yeah.
But there was a different
Lakers. The Lakers, they keep talking about, there was the closest sweep ever when they keep
against
losing
the Nuggets.
Yes, yeah, they've had like two of the. They had the best 1-5 loss and the best 0-4 loss in NBA history. Props to them. The Bucks, by the way, they only get one more. They only get one more of these games until March. Oh no, they don't. They have no more. NBA Basketball Reference still has not put in box scores from yesterday. They are done playing the Celtics. They play the Cavs Sunday, March 9th, and they play the Knicks Friday, March 28th.
And that's it.
Both of them are home games. So it's post-deadline. I mean, those games are going to be, their March is really hard. So I'm not going to put too much weight on one specific March game, especially in January. But that's got to be like the final form of this team. You know, you're done with trades. Buyout market is very limited. I'm not going to expect a big surge there, especially with the apron restrictions. You've got to be able to you really would like to win both of those games. I don't know what the back-to-back setup and everything is. You've got to look a lot better, at least against the Knicks, than you did. And they got blown out against the Cavs the last game they played, too. Their better games were both in early November. Yeah, you're pretty much out of those opportunities for a while, so you got to take care of business against everyone else. And you need to not, lose the rope against these bad teams the way they've been doing.
Yeah, and especially because you don't play a ton of bad teams. They're honestly like pretty decent teams. Like if you look at like this January schedule, like the Magic and Kings look good. The Sixers are whatever. Pelicans, yeah, bad. But the Clippers are like a decent team. The Spurs are a decent team. The Heat, they're higher in the standings than the Bucks.
Could be,
sorry. They have the same record as the Bucks.
So these are all teams at least play-in. I mean, San Antonio now is half a game out, but these are all like play-in caliber teams at least. And in the West, that's a lot of teams are in that range. So outside of the Raptors, and I'd say the Sixers and the Pels.
Yeah, and then you get into February, you've got Grizzlies. You have a Grizzlies Thunder home away back-to-back, which is just ridiculous. Sixers Warriors, like the Warriors are they're a decent team. The Wolves are a decent team.
Yeah,
like they're not bad. They're not pushovers. Like it's not the Hornets.
Yeah, I mean that's the February and then March especially. It's just a really tough schedule packed with games. So the Bucks are going to have to bring it, and they're probably going to have to win games where one of their key players gets a night off too.
Yeah, in the first 2 full weeks of February, the Bucks play 7 games in 10 days.
Yeah.
What a crazy stretch, or 11 days. What a crazy stretch.
Yeah, then it's All-Star. But again, the Bucks won't totally get a break. And then again, I've shared this before with March, but starting on March 8th, they play every other day or every day for the rest of the month. So they don't have 2 straight off days for the better part of a month.
And it starts with a back-to-back.
Yeah. And that goes on until like April 6th and 7th are their 2 consecutive off days after that run.
That's a month. That's insane.
Yeah. Which is why it was important to big wins, and they did not.
Yeah. What a horrible schedule.
Yeah.
Maybe the Bucks are cooked.
Yeah, I mean, they look at some of these games that they've been... I do think it's fair to say they don't look like a contender right now. Because they've only beaten one contender, and the game didn't count. And they're just so inconsistent. I mean, this is great. Great teams win consistently. Like, it's very rare for a team to go and win the title when they are just like pretty middling in terms of who they play against and what their net rating is. And
what's an example of a team that's done that besides LeBron?
Yeah, I was gonna say the LeBron teams, and since then it's been like a while. The Bucks are 13th in net rating, +1. 0.01.
Hey, those Giannis free throws, they could be +41.
Well, that's not how that way. They could be a little better. They could be a little better. Add 40 more points to this. I'm not going to do the calculations, but it would help. It wouldn't hurt to make more free throws. But like Houston, who nobody agrees is a serious team, is +6. Like, come on, Bucks.
Yeah. It's just bad.
Do you think that a roster move will change everything, or is it just part of like a broader overall shift that's needed?
I think it has to be part of a broader overall shift, right? Because one roster move, unless it's, I don't know, Jimmy Butler, is not going to.
Even that, like,
I don't even know
was asked in our Discord. Yeah, I didn't watch this Knicks game and was like, oh, they need another 35-year-old wing.
Yeah, I don't know if he's going to change everything for this team.
Yeah, I don't. I think
it has to be smaller move. I think it has to be at least 2 moves.
Yeah.
I don't think you can get away with not making at least 2 roster moves.
I don't think you can carry Bobby and Brook to the playoffs. There's just too many bad matchups.
Yeah, that's fair, honestly. Like we've seen, if this team is serious about wanting to win a title, which I think they are, they don't play like it, but I think that's their goal. I think that's fair. I think that's completely fair. Or you have to at least have another big, you know?
Yeah.
You have to have another big. You can't. Your big rotation cannot be Bobby and Brook going into the playoffs.
You definitely can't. I think you need to. It feels like they need to move one of those two, and obviously you also need to. You cannot have Patsy and DeLon Wright and Marjan, who Doc just throws in when games go wrong, but doesn't really trust at all, for good reason for all 3 of them. Like I think that's the 2 moves. Maybe you're just clearing one of them out for Rollins or whatever, it's just Fultz get healthy, Dennis Smith Jr. want to decide he doesn't hate the Milwaukee Bucks organization, whatever goes on.
Have we had anything change with that?
No word.
It's kind of insane, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is a guy who's trying to make it back into the NBA, and he's like, nah, I'm not reporting to the herd. Yeah, I draw the line at Oshkosh.
He's not trying
Wisconsin.
that hard.
Go to Oshkosh. It's fine. It's nice there. I like it there.
Maybe he's not a cold weather guy.
He played in Brooklyn.
It's a little different. Brooklyn and Oshkosh are a little different. But it's, you know.
Listen, we're not asking him to fully live in Oshkosh, you know.
Just for a couple months.
I know, but that's different than fully.
No, he doesn't have to commit his whole life.
Yeah, that's what we're saying.
That's not how it works anywhere. Yeah, I know. I'm trying to see if there's been any. I don't think they've ever released him. I think he's still technically on the roster, which is probably making it a little difficult because you often don't have enough players with. Although they've been assigning A.J. Johnson and Tyler Smith and Chris Livingston, Chris Livingston and A.J. Johnson just had tremendous games. For
A.J. Johnson is just Steph Curry now?
I said I like the jumper.
He's Steph Curry, but with Russell Westbrook's athleticism?
I'm excited for him. I'm not going to comment on what you're saying, but I'm excited for his career.
That's how he's playing with the herd, though.
That's how he played in this last game with the herd.
I'm just trying to rile you up.
I'm not gonna be riled. I'm trying to find the box score.
We're gonna be Ryan Rollins up.
You think NBA stats is broken? G League stats is actually horrendous. Okay, herd box scores. He had a great game. I know that he was knocking down threes left and right. Sofa score.
What?
Sofascore.com is one of the top.
That's awesome.
CL had 38 points in that game.
Wait, did he actually?
Yeah. Or 35 points. 35
you know what?
points,
I take
9
it back.
boards.
It was a good Wisconsin
2 steals,
sports weekend.
10 of 14 from the field, 3 of 4 from deep. 6 of 7 from free throw. Really strong CL game.
Is CL the answer? Are we back to where we were preseason?
We might be. It's good timing from him. Dennis Smith Jr. did not play in this game, though. He still has yet to play.
Yeah. He has yet
Justice
to be
Winslow's still out. He was supposed to be back a while ago. Winslow's still out. Terrence Davis is back. He had a pretty good game. And then Henry Ellenson was quiet in this one, but has been dominant. Did have 8 assists. has been dominant.
Is CL the answer? I'm like not even joking.
I would try him at this point.
Like it's strange, right, that he's just never had real minutes at this point.
I mean, it's like Doc didn't ever see the tape of the Utah game.
Or he's just not watching Herd tape.
Yeah, maybe he's not.
Which is more recent. Might be more relevant.
I don't know. I mean, if you've seen the Utah game,
you can watch these Herd games, but you can also go back a season and a half and you can watch this Utah game.
You should consider that.
Not a season and a half. It's more like a season.
I can't. So the G League stats page is like literally broken. Basketball Ref has CL averaging 19 and 8 with the G League this year, but it's only 6 games. And I feel like he has played more than 6 games. But
because it's
regardless,
not counting showcase games, I think.
Well, I don't. It's just. Oh yeah. Okay. True. That's regular season versus tip-off tournament, which is the stupidest thing that they do. He was 18-8 and 2 assists in the tip-off. Now he's 19-8, an assist and a half. 2.5 turnovers, a little high, but he's raised the 3-point percentage to 34.5. It was 33 in the tip-off
the turnovers
tournament.
Come with usage too.
Yeah, I mean, he's like a first option down there.
Yeah, because he's been their best player.
Yeah, him or Ellenson this season.
Yeah, but Ellenson's been like kind of up or down.
Yeah, most of them have. But yeah, he's their leading scorer this year at 19 or 20 or however old he is. Yeah, AJ Johnson, 28.9% in the tip-off tournament from 3, but 47.4% in the regular season. So he has caught fire lately, which is nice to see.
Yeah. It's just, I find it a little bit strange that none of them, they've just been always with the Herd.
Yeah, I just
Do you not find that a little strange?
Not that strange.
I feel like it's only been like a handful of games where they've been even able to come in during garbage time.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing a lot with the Herd. I think that's the development plan for the rookies.
It's good. It's good that they're playing a lot with the Herd. Like that's what we wanted, right? Like I'm not trying to say like that's bad. That's very, very, very good for their development.
Yeah.
But all I'm saying is during a weird portion of the season where the Bucks are like just trying things, like you can have your rookies up there.
They have not gotten that far down yet to trying things past yet.
I'm mostly talking about Chris Livingston.
Yeah, the CL I think has deserved a shot to play at some point, especially in one of these games where there's a couple guys out. It's usually
the Bucks. It's the Bucks sort of MO to like, a leading scorer with the Herd, give him a shot at the end of the season, convert him. The good thing is he's already on the roster.
Yeah, they don't need to do anything roster-wise to play him. Yeah, I do think it's odd that he's been down there so much specifically. The rookies, I expected it more, and I think it makes sense.
It's mostly CL.
CL, I think, he's shooting 64% from 2 this year as basically a first option. Like he is rampaging.
He's Herd Giannis.
He has basically functioned like Herd Giannis this year. Would love to see him get a chance with the real players at some point. Like, I don't know. I think I'm good on the Marjan experience now.
The thing about the Marjan experience, how do I say this?
I don't know what you're gonna say. It
hasn't been bad.
No,
it hasn't been like a hey, get this guy clearly does not belong in the court. It's more like a what's the upside to this?
Yeah, it doesn't feel promising either. That you nailed it. Like I'm not watching it like Marjan's killing them, but it's just like, okay, he's fine defensively. They didn't really try much on Brunson, which maybe they should have. But like offensively, takes the 2-on-3 fast break into 2 players.
When he saw that, here's what went through my head when I saw that. I'm like, Marjan is looking at this opportunity as his shot to prove himself. He's like, no, I forget who it was, just trailing on the wing.
Chris. He had Chris on one side and someone else on the other side, yeah.
The thing is, like, the one good thing he really showed is he was moving fast.
Yeah.
And it's surprising to me that even Chris was able to he was probably already at the half court, but just being able to it was just him and Chris. It was like a 2-on-3 or something, and no one went to Chris. It was just Marjan going to the rim. And I think in his eyes, he was like, man, if I make this, I might actually have a shot, Like this rotation is buns. I've got a shot to really prove myself. Just gets the abs. It was
one of the most demoralizing blocks because I think that's about the lowest I've seen a player get blocked. like
who was it? Was it OG?
I think so. Which is not a good player.
He didn't even need to try.
No. It was like, how you kind of like go down a little bit before you spring up, like when you're running and jumping. OG started to block it while Marjan was still like going down before springing up. Do you know what I mean?
I'm gonna find it. I think it might have been Mikhail.
Whoever it was, like it got blocked like probably 5 feet in the air, if not lower. Like it was low.
We forgot. Yeah, it was. Okay, so I'm watching this play right now. He had Bobby right next to him.
No, I told you didn't he have someone in the corner too?
He had Chris in the corner.
Chris in the corner, Bobby right next to him.
I did not even realize Bobby was right next to him.
It was a very bad fast break. Like either option is better.
Dame was on the wing.
Dude,
this is a much different play than I remember.
I was going to say, I remember it being like a very good opportunity for the Bucks that he just took into a very demoralizing block. Who blocked it? Was it OG?
When I saw that happen, I'm like, surely no one else is around. So clearly, I need to just go back because I'm watching this now. Both him and Bobby are crashing to the basket. And he sort of stutters at the free throw line, like a little bit before. He's trying to size up what's going on. He's got Cam Payne and Mikhail Bridges just sort of going at him. I think he assumes that Mikhail is just going to follow Bobby because Bobby's in front of him at this point.
Yeah, I don't know how Bobby beat him down the court either.
And then he gets past Cam. Like, honestly, the more I look at this, I'm like, this isn't a horrible decision. It ended up being a horrible decision, but he gets past Cam Payne, and I think he assumes Mikhail Bridges is just going to like float to Bobby.
Yeah.
But the thing is, Bobby is literally 2 feet away from him, so he doesn't need to go anywhere.
Bobby kind of did mess up the spacing of the break.
This is the easiest 2-on-1 fast break to defend because two players are in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I just need to stay where I am. Oh, it's 100%. Bobby needed a fade to at least like further along the baseline, and then he just goes. Mikhail's just does he even jump?
I'm telling you, he blocks it before he jumps for sure.
He might jump. His jump on this might be lower than a Bobby Portis jump.
Because he jumped into the block.
Crazy.
That was a rough play. Again, it's not totally. He knocked down a three.
That would have tied the game.
The game was not over at this point. He had a nice like putback later on in that quarter, I believe. Like he didn't have a horrible game by any means, but like let's see if CL can do. And same for Pat. I'm not just against Marjan. Like I'd rather see CL than Pat. I'd rather see CL than DeLon Wright for sure. Marjan, like. You know, there's some flashes. Like he didn't have a horrible game by any means. Had a steal, had a three knocked down. But there's like moments like that where you're just like, oh, he's still having some of these decisions that just are not very good.
Yeah, it's just, again, it comes back to what I was saying. I just don't know what the upside is.
Yeah, like he feels like a guy. He should have played as much as like AJ Johnson is playing now in his earlier seasons with the Herd.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And the thing is, in terms of upside, it's also like team building as well. Like this is a guy who's going to be a free agent.
Yeah, declined his option. He's gone this coming season unless you give him a whatever contract it takes.
Do you even offer that though?
I mean, they took away the like $5 million option. I mean, I don't think they'll resign him.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like,
I'm saying if he plays well. Like, if you're like, oh, we got something here. Like, you already declined the option. You already pretty much gave up on him. Now it's going to be expensive to retain. You have his bird rights. You can do it. But, I think the Bucks' plans for the future right now do not include Marjan.
Yeah, which is why it's like, why not try a CL who's under team control?
Yeah, 2 more years. Non-guaranteed. I mean, he could be out the door too, but give him a shot first.
But it's like you have that flexibility. And a guy who's clearly shown he is a better prospect than Marjan.
Yes.
Like, even when Marjan was playing with the Herd, he's not as well as CL has.
Yeah.
Like, CL looks like a fairly, I don't want to say polished product because it's not, and it would be honestly bad if it was.
Yeah.
But he has more control over his flashes.
Yeah.
He looks more controlled.
He's like 6'8" now.
Yeah. He's doing I'm telling you, he's heard Giannis.
Damn. Gotta get out there. They play 2 home games in January, both day games. The Herd.
Horrible.
The game I just talked about was like during Bucks and I think a little bit during Packers. I just couldn't get there.
Yeah. Horrible for me.
Really, really weird scheduling for the Bucks and Herd. Here's the question I wanted to ask you, unless you have any other Bucks stuff. So I think Josh Everly posted this Twitter user. You saw this.
Yes.
Wemby or Cade and Paolo long term. So you get one, you build a franchise around. I think for like their careers, so I'm not taking into account the existing contracts, but like whatever, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, it's a hypothetical. Yeah.
Who would you rather have? Just Wemby, the best prospect in the league, or those two guys together?
I actually thought a lot about this. It's a very good question and a very thought-provoking and interesting question. Shout out to Josh for that.
Yeah.
See, here's my thought process, and I think I know which way you lean.
I weighed in. You've missed it, so I'm glad I haven't seen you. If you addressed it, I have not seen it.
I haven't actually.
I have my answer. Okay.
So Wemby is the clear best player.
Yes.
Clearly, the best player.
He's the best young prospect in the league by a lot. He
is one of the best prospects in NBA history.
Yes.
He might be the best prospect in NBA history.
Yeah, I mean, it's him and it's like 19-year-old LeBron, and that's about the conversation.
And it's like,
I guess like rookie Kareem, like there's some.
I was going to say
then.
Kareem or Hakeem are also in there, but like again, he might be the best prospect in the history of human beings.
Yeah.
Cade and Paolo are really good.
Yeah.
Here's the pros and cons that I have to weigh when I'm thinking about this. I actually have a lot to say about this. It's way better than talking about Bucks. Is that like Cade and Paolo together combined have a chance to never be as good as Wemby. They do. I mean, Wemby has a chance to be the greatest player of all time.
Fair.
Like he could retire as the greatest player in NBA history. Like there's a genuine chance of that happening.
There is.
I don't think there's a genuine chance that either Cade or Paolo end up being the best player in NBA history.
Yeah, fair.
There's also never a guarantee that you are going to put a player next to Wemby who are as good as Cade or Paolo are right now.
Correct.
I'm not talking about 10 years from now. I'm not talking about 5 years from now. I'm talking about right now. There's no shot that Wemby ever has a partner as good as current Cade or as good as current Paolo. Current Cade and current Paolo are all-stars. They're all-stars. They're all NBA-type talents right now.
Yep.
Imagine what they could be when they're like 27 years old or something like that. Something like not even like 2 years ago Giannis type age. Like not even now Giannis, where he still is in his prime.
The last team to have a combination of players like that just breezed through last playoffs without one of their top six and won a title.
Yeah.
And I think this duo could be better than that duo.
I think absolutely.
Tatum and Brown, obviously.
Absolutely. I think Cade and Paolo together would be better than Tatum and Brown.
By those ages.
Which is why I'm taking Cade and Paolo.
I also took Cade and Paolo.
It hurts me because, again, Wemby could be the best player in basketball history, and him on his own could be worth more to a team than a combination of Cade and Paolo.
Yeah.
However,
but I think from a team building perspective, you're so close to a juggernaut.
Absolutely. Like you have it's the skill sets that merge too. You have your dynamic guard. You have your dynamic big man. Like that's Kobe and Shaq on steroids, right? Is it not?
No, because I don't look at Paolo as that. Like I wouldn't call him a true big man.
No, I don't think he's like a true big man. But what I think he's better than what would be a true big man.
They remind me of like the Jays or of like. They remind me of the Thunder. I mean, you have two guys instead of three, but that kind of like, okay, we've got Harden and KD or Russ and KD. We gave up on one of them. But I look at them more of that, of like the kind of they can hand off offensive players. Like they can both take offense. Like you have easily staggered, very strong offense for, their whole careers together, which I think is elite. Like, you can do a lot of fun actions together. You really just need complementary personnel around them. And I think they could be... I mean, look at the Magic roster, right? Like, Cade is better than Franz. As much as we love Franz, Cade is just a better player.
Yeah.
Their roster outside of those two guys is very replaceable, flawed players. A lot of one-way defense guys, and they've been awesome, right? I'm not trying to tear down the Magic. So now you have a better top two. You have a much better creator. I mean, Cade's exactly what the Magic need, right? Like, Cade is Franz on steroids in a lot of ways. You just get like some solid defensive personnel, a couple of shooters, like a KCP level guy, which was clearly attainable. The Magic just went out and signed him. And I think you're like an elite team automatically, whereas we're seeing with Wemby, they have some interesting players, but it can be hard to build a team. I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to make Wemby good, but like LeBron's first stint with the Cavs, they never won. Like it can be hard to find those other pieces even around the best prospect in basketball.
Absolutely. But here's where I'm sort of like maybe doubting myself a little bit is you put just any sort of NBA talent around Wemby and they'll win games. Like we're seeing that. Like they go from a bottom 5, bottom 3 team to having 48-year-old Chris Paul, Harrison Barnes on that team. Like Vassell has been playing well. Like you just put NBA talent around him compared to last year and it's night and day.
Yeah.
Like they might be a play-in team this year.
Yeah. I think you're
and with Cade and Paolo, there's also injury history.
Yeah, but you get double the stars.
You get double the stars.
Any injury to Wemby and you're cooked.
That's true. You have more insurance.
You have more insurance. And I think like let's use the Celtics again. If you go out and get a Drew Holiday level and a Derek White level player with Cade and Paolo, I think you look like a super team. I think on the Wemby team, if you acquire the same
I think if you even get a Porzingis, you look like a super team.
But I just mean if you get those two guys, like in two guys who are good but obtainable, you're like, oh my God, we have so many options. If you get those two guys on the Wemby team, I just think you're a good team, but I don't think you don't feel like a super team to me. I just think the numbers matter. Kind of. The old Bucks, not the Dame Bucks as much.
Not the Dame Bucks, but like the Giannis, Chris Drew Bucks.
Yeah, the Bucks should try having 4 great players. I think that'd be a good idea.
Yeah, they should. They should really have 4 all-star capable players.
I guess that's the Jimmy Butler. Well, then you only have 3 though still.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's a really good thought experiment.
Yeah. I don't think I've ever answered a question like that before, and it made it way more interesting.
Yeah, shout out to Josh Eberle for that. But yeah, it's I think I'd take Cade and Paolo. Again, like there's a lot of like I don't think you can go wrong either way in this scenario. But Cade and Paolo, like I'm so happy I've never given up on my Cade stock.
Yeah.
And it's like I've publicly said this and no one can even at me on this.
You've been there.
But it's so like it's like what I was talking about with Wemby a second ago. It's like put actual NBA talent around him and see what happens. And it's like, yeah, this dude looks freaking awesome with actual players on the court.
Well, that's the thing. Like the Pistons have a better record than the Spurs this year. And I don't think the Pistons roster is way, way better. So, and the Magic have a better record than either. And again, they have other guys. They've won without either of their guys. But yeah, I think they'd win a lot of games together immediately.
You mentioned like, replace Franz with Cade and this team looks awesome. Can you imagine Cade, Franz, and Paolo?
I mean, yeah. That's where you get to like the
Celtics. That's a title team today.
We're unguardable. Yeah.
That's a contender right now. How old is Cade?
That's my 22, 23. That's my case for getting the 2. Because I think every additional good player, like not good, but like plus level, near star player makes so much of a difference. And I think you can find 2 of those guys and it just makes you like incredible.
Yeah. How old is Paolo? Like 21?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Paolo is 22. So you have a 22 and 23-year-old. Like
so even if it's at their current ages, it's still you get their whole careers, basically.
Like those 2 together right now would make a contender. Like imagine those 2 together for like 6 years.
Like the Thunder. The Thunder are another team. It's like you have your own Shea and J-Dub.
Yeah, I think better.
Yeah.
I think Shea's the better player of the 3 of them.
The 4, yeah.
They're both combined better than Shea and J-Dub.
Yeah, I think if you're drafting those guys, it's Shea, probably Cade, Paolo, and then J-Dub pretty soundly.
Yeah. So like the 2-3 is better than the 1-4.
Yeah. So kind of a similar question.
Yeah. And again, like how good would Cade look on the current Thunder?
Yeah. Pretty insane, probably.
Yeah. Would he be an MVP candidate?
Potentially. I mean, he's an all-NBA candidate on the Pistons, so there's certainly a possibility.
That is true. You know, for all the talk about like, oh, Packers fans should not care about Lions' success, like be happy for them. We've talked about this where it's like, yeah, I don't care. Like, I hate them.
Yeah.
I do not feel that way about the Pistons at all. I actually root for the Pistons. So,
well, let's see. It'll be different when they're actually good than if they like spank the Bucks, you know?
Yeah.
It gets less fun fast when the little brother puts you in a headlock. That's where it changed. You know, you see the Lions pants the Packers a couple times. It's like, no, I'm not going to celebrate this.
No. I mean, to be fair, I was never celebrating. So.
No, I know, but even like with the Pistons, like it's so fun. Then they come to town. And you're like, this sucks. I don't enjoy this at all.
This used to be a $5 ticket. Yeah. What's going on?
This used to be 4 wins by 115 combined points.
Yeah, I used to be like Thon Maker. What's going on?
Oh man, I missed those
Thon
days.
Maker in a playoff series against the Bucks.
Back when the Bucks won playoff games.
Oh, what the good old days. I think Siri just went off on my phone.
I didn't hear it. Didn't come through the mic, so you're good.
Oh, that's good. So I just outed myself. That's fine. But that's a really good question.
Yeah.
Do we have anything else?
We're a minute past your heart out, so I think we're good.
Oh, I don't have the heart out. We're good.
Oh, okay. Did you text me?
I did.
Oh, I never look. I'm too locked in. Okay.
No, you're good. That's probably for the best.
I was sweating this like, oh man, Rohan's gonna be late for something.
No. You're all good. You're all good. But yeah, if we don't have anything else to talk, I just switched over to the free throw tab. Now I got sad again.
Oh.
It's not great. Nick Richards, what is he shooting? 67.8%. It's not great.
It's not great, but we can make that work. I got to really dive into the film. I've talked about Nick Richards too much. I need a more informed opinion.
Yeah, that's good. You know what? That's a good model for people to follow.
Yeah.
I will say, like, on bringing it back to prize picks, you know what's been fun? Brook Lopez projecting at half a free throw made. That's been a fun one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to find a new go-to because Jaden Reed let me down again.
Yeah, and don't have that for a while.
Brook would not have hit that in this last game.
Oh, I'm aware.
Are you fading or are you adding that?
Oh, I was adding it.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I thought
I'm aware that he did
I had the game totally read wrong. I did a pregame pod with Andrew Claudio of Knicks Film School, excellent. And I thought, okay, Giannis is going to be hitting shooters. I had Giannis more than 5.5 assists. I had Prince points, Green points, Middleton points, and Chris hit, but the other two not so much. So I had the game flow totally wrong in this one.
I had a 2 out of 4 for the Knicks game. I had OG Demon Time, more than 1.5 turnovers. He had 2. I had Mikal Bridges, more than half an offensive rebound. He had 1 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
I had Damian Lillard, more than 3.5 rebounds. He had 3. After getting he had 3 in the first quarter, I believe, and then just didn't grab another one. And then the Brook Lopez, more than half a free throw.
Oh yeah.
If Dame grabbed another rebound, it was a flex play too, so it was so close to 3 out of 4.
Dame and Giannis need to lock in a little bit more on defense on the boards. Giannis had been good lately. Neither of them, I thought, were good on that end against New York, and it was part of the reason that they lost that badly. Not a lot of it, but part of it.
We didn't talk about Dame too much.
Yeah. I mean, it was like started off good, got unaggressive. A lot of his turnovers were in the second half, and it just felt like he wasn't looking to score enough, and like he just clearly needed to. Like nobody else outside of the big three had 10 points in this game, so I don't know why he felt like he had to stop shooting. Like I think they need him to not do that, and pretty poor defense cost. I mean, he'd turn it over and like jog back, and it's like the Bucks will never win anything of substance if you're playing like this, dude. They need more.
Yeah. Which honestly gets back to a little bit like Brunson plays like that sometimes. Like play like Brunson. Like you know, like who on the Knicks was guarding Damian Lillard so well? No one. He was getting to where he wanted to go. He just didn't have that fire.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing.
Yeah,
maybe they just wanted to watch the Packer game.
They would have been double disappointed just like us if that's what they did.
Yeah. Also, Dame just posting right before the Packers game, like, oh, Packers are releasing Jair, put him back, get him to the Raiders.
To be Raiders.
What are you doing, Dame? What are you doing? Have some respect.
Yeah, right before the playoff game is tough.
Yeah, right. And I hope Josh Jacobs brings everyone to the Packers.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
Devontae?
So you're forced to be Yeah, even though he's on the Jets.
He's getting out of there.
Oh yeah, there's no shot. He was on Kay Adams' show talking about
he was lusting
potential
over Green Bay.
Yeah, and then he had to say I am currently a member of the Jets, so it's we have to take that into consideration.
Wait, there's one more thing we have to talk about.
Oh boy, let's do it.
Have you seen KD flirting with Kay Adams?
I have not.
I'll have to send you a video. It's I've never seen him care this much about anything. I don't know if he has something against Shams and just wants to show him up or what, but he's been locked in on his Kay Adams. He's going on every week to do picks for football season.
Of course he is.
And Kay is just I thought about you when I was watching this game, and he interrupts how often do you think about me? And she's all flustered and he's putting up 30-point games when he goes on that show.
Oh, so you're saying it's going well?
Yes.
Oh, I would have assumed it's just going
No, I know. You would assume that, right? No. He's more locked in on going on Kay Adams' show than the Suns' season thus far, it seems.
Do you blame him?
No, they lost twice to the Hornets in a week. Very Bucks-ish. Except they're under 500 now.
Feel bad for Bud.
Yeah.
You know who's playing well for the Suns? Grayson Allen.
Yeah, not any of their centers either. They are the other Nick Richards team.
Yeah, except somehow the Bucks have more assets?
Yeah, and they want the Hornets to take Nurkic.
Why would they do
nobody
that?
wants Nurkic. Yeah, Nurkic is. They just benched him entirely.
Yeah. He's out here just being one of the worst players in the NBA?
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, he talked trash about the Bucks. Bucks breakdown, shared it, and it was fun to laugh at Nurkic. This was a while ago, but...
Oh, yeah, I remember this. Crazy. Crazy to just randomly go reply to Bucks breakdown.
Yeah, if you're in the NBA, yeah.
Have some self-respect. Nothing against Bucks breakdown, but I think it's a really good account.
Yeah. But you're in the NBA.
Yeah, I don't understand.
I wouldn't.
You're just going there to hate when you yourself are buns. We watch you. We can see what you're doing.
I mean, yeah, we can't anymore because they took him out of all the games, but
that's true.
When he played, we could see.
Yeah, we can see him not playing too. I'm gonna start I'll start a Suns breakdown account where it's just hey, is Nurkic doing this? It'll be one of those gimmick accounts where it's did Yusuf Nurkic play well for the Suns today? And it's just every day.
No. Yeah, you could probably bot it out to just do it automatically every day.
Oh, but then I have to pay for a bot.
Sure, it's not worth it.
No. I mean, how hard is it to just type no? It's weird.
I mean, no, it'd be easy to miss a day. You know what I mean?
Just set a reminder. I don't need to automate everything.
Yeah, they're playing Oso Ighodaro over him and Plum.
Hey, I'll tell you what. Oso looks good. That's my guy.
Look good.
That's my guy right there. I would have thought it's crazy. I would have thought Tyler Kolek would have more of an impact rookie year than Oso, but it's just been Oso's been killing it. I think that's
team context.
Yeah, team context is very different. I don't think Tyler Kolek's gonna have a monster game when Jalen Brunson and Mikal Bridges and Josh Hart are all play.
Yeah,
OG is there. It's maybe Tyler Kolek doesn't need to play a ton. He's been playing in Westchester a bunch though.
Yeah, I think he got into that Bucks game right toward the end.
Did he?
Maybe not. I don't know. I thought I saw him, but I was disillusioned by that point.
He did.
Look at me.
I'm going to be completely honest. I did not watch Garbage Time.
I couldn't enjoy it after how the game went, and it wasn't even a good garbage time.
Yeah. Plus, I had to flip to the Packers.
Liam Robbins got cheated out of a block. It was.
Did he?
Yeah. See, I watched it too. I just didn't enjoy
it. You're something else, man. This is what I really appreciate about you.
What?
You're just locked in. The Packers Eagles are playing. Nah, I gotta see if Liam Robbins is playing well in these 6 minutes.
I've been waiting. It's been disappointing so far. I expected more from Liam Robbins. But yeah, I was locked into it, and I was disappointed.
How much is Liam Robbins playing with the Herd?
A little less lately. I think they've kept him around the Bucks more as a just in case thing, but it's not going well.
Why not have CL as a just in case? I guess he's much smaller.
Not a center. Yeah.
But again, it's weird.
I'm ready for it. I hope we see CL. We got a back-to-back. We're probably going to see at least Chris not play both. We'll see who else misses time. Is Gary going to be back? Let's see it. Let's Mr. Doc Rivers, Dr. Rivers. We'd like to see Chris Livingston this week, please.
Yeah, we know you listen.
Yep.
Yep, please. And give me the name of your throat guy. Apparently.
What a callback.
Oh man, good times. Well, I think we've reached the end. So we'll thank you for listening to this episode of the Gyro Step here on Blue Wire GSPN, presented by our great friends over at Prize Picks. Let's get them to 100 mil. 100 mil, that's the goal.
And us.
Yeah, and us too.
100 million listeners, 100 million Prize Picks players.
I was going to say that's the utopia.
That too.
And you can contribute to that goal. If you go to gspn.info, you can for $8 a month subscribe to GSPN Premium. Lets you get exclusive GSPN After Dark pods, written content, which that big board that's going up on Substack. Yeah.
So here's what I'm gonna do. It's only for subscribers to view the full board, but we'll talk about it on the pod too.
Yes. So it's not like you'll still have some access, but if you just want to read that, that's going to be
full access, subscribers only.
Yes. And just supports the team. But yeah, wherever you're listening or watching this, make sure you're subscribed, whether that's your podcast platform of choice or on YouTube. Pod Random. And we'll talk to you next time.